in my lifetime. I have never seen an incompetent coach, an incompetent quarterback united at the hip with no end in sight. And I want to be clear. I'm saying this without mentioning the name Shedeur Sanders, because it ain't got nothing to do with him. He doesn't even have to be on this roster for this to be one of the dumbest decisions in the history of the NFL.
College football just went off the rails. Dillon Gabriel was left stranded mid-game like a QB waiting for an Uber that never showed, while Coach Stefanski pulled a plot twist straight out of a telenovela, benching Shedeur Sanders without warning. Fans are melting down, players look like they're in a group chat nobody invited them to, and social media has gone full-blown detective mode. Whatever just happened out there wasn't football, it was pure chaos on turf.
The reason why I don't expect to see Shedeur anytime real soon, two things. One, I've talked about this a ton. Coaching staff has shown no interest in playing him. Like, none. They don't seem eager to get him in there. They don't seem excited to even have him on the team. That's just how it reads, man. That's just the vibe you get ever since he was drafted was like, oh, okay, well, I guess he's on the team, but it doesn't mean we have to play him. And the other thing is, I know it's Tony Rizzo, but he was at a game and he came out and said, I had two sources at the game and both sources confirmed the plan is for Shedeur Sanders to play the last 4 games.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you think. The Cleveland Browns have done it again. Another Sunday, another meltdown, and another painful reminder that in Cleveland, disappointment isn't a bug, it's a feature. This time, the heartbreak came courtesy of the New York Jets, a team most fans penciled in as an easy win. Instead, it turned into yet another chapter in the Browns' ever-growing anthology of chaos, frustration, and how did we lose that game? Moments.
Dillon Gabriel, and I'm sorry, Dillon, you cannot play NFL football. This is like the AI Atlas. We've never seen it before. And after the game, for the Browns to just say, not even arbitrarily, they're saying it like it's the mantra of the team that Dillon Gabriel's playing again next week. Such a great exercise in incompetence that we should study this in some type of anthropology class at the highest level of educational institution in this country. Malpractice, this is...
But not the Browns. Oh no, the Browns look at a game like that and think, asterisk, how can we turn this into a teachable moment about suffering? Asterisk, Dillon Gabriel took the field like a man on a mission, just not the one anyone expected. His passes had the accuracy of a blindfolded dart thrower, and by halftime, it felt less like football and more like an emotional endurance test. Cleveland didn't just lose a game, they hosted another masterclass in creative heartbreak.
We're back to making fun of the Cleveland Browns, and that little Hawaiian leprechaun did it to us again yesterday, and now we're just waiting for Stefanski to get fired as we're on Shedeur Sanders. Watch, because the quarterback change is going to happen one way or another somewhere down the road, but a lot's happening in the media. A lot to discuss, as you can believe, after yesterday, as we watch Stefanski stumble in front of the microphone, all monotone, not giving us an answer about these quarterbacks, scared to mention Shedeur's name, but just giving us the same answer every.
Under new offensive coordinator Tommy Reeds, you'd think there'd be a spark, some sign of life, a flicker of competence, anything. Nope. 6 sacks later, the only spark anyone saw came from Reed's busted headset after yet another blown third down. The play calling looked like it was drawn up on a napkin mid-flight, and by the fourth quarter, even the fans stopped booing, they just sighed and flew in Cleveland.
Jimmy Haslam said during training camp that you knew that seeing both young quarterbacks at some point this season was important. So just where is Shedeur at as far as his development, and do you have a timetable of when you would take a look at him?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to speculate, Daryl. We're committed to getting better as an offense. Dillon is certainly committing to improving every which way he can, and all the while, all of our players, young players, are developing and working so hard behind the scenes to make sure that they're getting better on a day.
The final score? 27-20. Sounds competitive, right? Don't be fooled, that was just the scoreboard trying to spare Cleveland's feelings. Dillon Gabriel went 17 for 32 for a modest 167 yards, which basically means the football spent more time floating aimlessly than landing in the hands of anyone who could make a difference. 32 pass attempts and nothing but frustration, grass stains, and existential dread to show for it. If disappointment were an official stat, he'd be the league MVP. And on the sideline? That familiar Cleveland optimism hung in the air, the kind that says, maybe next drive, as if decades of heartbreak haven't proven otherwise. And then there's Kevin Stefanski, smiling through the wreckage like he's rehearsing for his post-game press conference. You already know the lines. We just need to execute better. We're still figuring things out. We'll fix it next week. The Browns, though, seem to take pride in it. Chaos isn't a bug, it's their brand. Somewhere in that locker room, you just know there's a framed quote on the wall that reads, "Why fix what's always broken?"
I just don't know how you're going to win games checking the ball down. I just don't know.
I told you before. Listen, I love Dillon Gabriel. I love what he was able to do at Oregon. But in the NFL, if you're not able to throw inside of the hashes, outside of the numbers, if you can't make those throws like normal quarterbacks can do, you're not going to win games checking the ball down. You're just not. Unless you have elite, superior talent around you, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. You're just not. I mean, dude, he was 17 for 32, 167. He had 2 TDs today. And for the Browns to have success, the running game has to be.
Now here's the part that really stings. This game was winnable. Completely, painfully, embarrassingly winnable. The kind of matchup that separates teams with grit from teams with good-looking uniforms, and the Browns clearly went all in on the wardrobe. Dillon Gabriel had every opportunity to flip the script, to turn this from another Sunday meltdown into a redemption arc. Instead, he doubled down on disaster, 6 sacks, 17 completions, and more checkdowns than a toddler's snack time. Fans watched in disbelief, stuck somewhere between laughter and tears. Social media turned into one massive group therapy session, half prayers, half memes, and a few heartfelt resignation letters to fandom itself, and then came the question echoing louder than the dog pound's booze, where is Shedeur Sanders? The sad irony. Everyone saw this coming, especially Dillon Sanders. Remember when he didn't want Shedeur drafted by Cleveland? People called him dramatic. Turns out, he was prophetic. Coach Prime probably took one look at the Browns organization and said, "Not today, football gods."
That is true. If the Browns have already established like Dillon Gabriel's going to play until the last 4, and then we're going to give Shedeur that last 4 games. Kevin Stefanski will not bench Dillon Gabriel before he has to, before the plan says this is when you're doing it. I firmly believe that.
I just don't think 4 is enough. Why waste another game? Like, I understand, maybe there's a plan and you're going to give this guy this much, but you already know. You don't need to waste more time. 4 is not enough to see if Shedeur. 4 could be enough. Yeah. 1 was enough. I watched Dillon Gabriel one game and was like, okay, this is not.
And really, who can blame him? This disaster of a game is exactly what Dillon Sanders saw coming. A team that can't block, can't handle pressure, and can't decide whether it's rebuilding or just plain broken. The football gods have to be laughing. Every time Stefanski benches Shedeur Sanders, it feels like the universe responds with another creative form of failure. Karma doesn't just visit Cleveland, it's a season ticket holder. The front office treats accountability like a suggestion, and somewhere in the owner's box, Jimmy Haslam is probably thinking, at least the uniforms still look good. Fans have reached their breaking point. You can only watch the same collapse so many times before the pain starts to feel routine. Losing to the Jets isn't a lesson, it's an identity crisis. Yet somehow, Browns fans stay loyal, smiling through heartbreak like it's part of the experience. Some were even posting heart emojis after the loss, celebrating growth. Only in Cleveland can moral victories replace real ones. They've turned losing into a lifestyle, deep breaths, forced calm, and pretending it's character building. Meanwhile, the local media keeps the delusion alive. Reporters call it a hard-fought effort, like 27-20 was some noble struggle instead of another slow-motion collapse. If good vibes could score touchdowns, the Browns would be Super Bowl champions by now.
I hate what's going on with Shedeur in Cleveland, man. I still got hope, though. Right after the game, coaches, sometimes they just say shit. Hey, is he still going to be the starter? Yes. It's like, but he still got to go have his meeting. He got to have his own meeting with the owner. How y'all do it, Jay? I don't really know how it go, but I'm sure after the game, y'all big dogs upstairs have y'all own meeting and y'all kind of amongst each other. And maybe in that meeting, he gonna say, hey, get 18 QBR, get out of there, bro. That's what you're doing right now. We're not waiting to why wait till the last 4 games of the season? That don't really make no sense.
Let's talk about Dillon Gabriel again, because honestly, how can you not? The man looked stranded, like a quarterback waiting for a rescue mission that never arrived. His offensive line might as well have been traffic cones in shoulder pads. Every snap turned into a survival episode, and by halftime, it felt like Gabriel was auditioning for a reboot of Man vs. Wild. 6 sacks is ugly, but what's worse is how easily preventable they were. The Jets weren't unstoppable, they were just conscious. And that's what makes it hurt. The Browns didn't lose because of raw talent, they lost because they were outcoached, outhustled, and outprepared. This isn't a skill problem, it's a leadership vacuum. Accountability doesn't exist in Cleveland, it's just another ghost haunting the franchise. Meanwhile, in the shadows of this mess, there's Shedeur Sanders, football's own myth, the guy everyone wants to see but never gets the chance. He's become the Bigfoot of the Browns. Blurry, elusive, and surrounded by rumors. You know he's real, but you start to wonder if you'll ever actually see him play somewhere. Deion Sanders is probably sitting back with that trademark grin, drink in hand, watching this train wreck unfold and thinking, asterisk told you so. Asterisk he warned them. He warned all of us. But Cleveland didn't listen, and now, they're living proof of what happens when you confuse hope with habit.
But because what we're talking about here is we ain't even seen him play. What we're dealing with today is because of Kevin Stefanski and his hand-picked quarterback, Dillon Gabriel, who he's been spreading propaganda about since day one. He's received the reps. You told us he was a supercomputer. You told us how great he was. You told us 1,000 times. And you talk about, well, you ain't got no lineman. Well, guess what? You could have drafted a lineman in the 3rd round that could have helped you, or a receiver. But you took Dillon Gabriel. He's been getting reps since day one.
You'd think the Browns would eventually learn. They've cycled through more quarterbacks than most teams have winning seasons, yet somehow keep replaying the same mistakes like a rerun nobody asked for. Maybe they think chaos builds character. Maybe losing is part of the brand. Either way, it's consistent. This isn't just about one ugly game, it's about a culture that keeps sabotaging itself. The Browns have built an identity so allergic to success that even a glimpse of progress feels temporary. A breakthrough or another breakdown. Because from the outside, it already looks off the rails. The offense moves with all the urgency of an expired coupon, technically functional, but no one's buying it. Receivers are running routes like their GPS froze, the running game's vanished, and the coaching staff keeps trusting the same quarterback who can't move the chains. Everyone's thinking the same thing, put in Shedeur Sanders. But this is Cleveland, they don't believe in easy solutions. They prefer to lose with creativity.
Losing this game and kind of now being behind the 8 ball. I mean, do you stick with Dillon Gabriel after this game, or do you think about making a change?
Yeah, we're going to stick with Dillon. Obviously, this is a young players that you're always trying to get one game better and those type of things, but we have to play better as an offense. We have to coach better, all the above.
Losing this game and kind of now being behind the 8 ball. I mean, do you stick with Dillon Gabriel after this game, or do you think about making a change?
Yeah, we're going to stick with Dillon. Obviously, this is a young players that you're always trying to get one game better and those type of things, but we have to play better as an offense. We have to coach better, all the above.
And the fans, they've reached a level of endurance that deserves its own trophy. You can't shock them anymore. They've gone past anger, past disappointment, straight into a state of numb sarcasm. Some are literally betting against their own team just to feel something, and honestly, who can blame them? When misery becomes predictable, you might as well profit from it. That's not disloyalty, that's survival. Because as long as the Browns keep doing Shedeur Sanders dirty, the football gods will keep showing up to watch the circus. Every week brings another lesson, another embarrassment, another reason Deion Sanders' warning rings louder than ever. And that's the real tragedy. Cleveland doesn't even realize they're the punchline anymore. And yet, they'll keep asking fans to trust the process, even though that process expired 3 rebuilds ago. Losing isn't a shock in Cleveland, it's tradition. The Browns have become that one friend who swears they're changing, but still shows up late, making the same mistakes, carrying the same excuses, and smelling like regret.
Between him and Shedeur Sanders, the Cleveland Browns have no legs to stand on talking about who's ready and who ain't. Because obviously this guy has never been ready. But they continue to force feed him down your throat as if there's any redeeming qualities. There aren't. And so if you think that you're going to go get another quarterback, it is malpractice to keep trotting him out here when you have another quarterback who's sitting in the wings that you can see if you're going to be able to play him, and he's a franchise guy. Nobody is saying give Shedeur Sanders the keys. All they're saying is give him an opportunity to show what he can do, and it's based on this. And by the way, how many games did Joe Flacco get?
It wasn't just bad football, it was stubborn coaching. Stefanski's post-game presser should have been simple: we're going to re-evaluate everything. That's what normal coaches say when their team collapses. But Stefanski? He doubled down. Dillon Gabriel will remain the starter after the bye. That's like watching your house burn and saying, we'll keep using the same liner. Myles Garrett's fury wasn't about the scoreboard, it was about the message. He left everything on that field, leading a defensive masterclass, and the coach's response was basically, we're fine. Then came the safety, a masterpiece of chaos. He fumbled in the end zone, panicked, and committed intentional grounding like good judgment was a foreign concept. 2 points for New England, and another clip for the blooper reel of embarrassment.
Hey, I would like to see him come into the news conference and name a player by name.
Names.
I say,
this
names. Cannot happen. But he won't. He gives them cover. He gives them cover. This is the wrong coach. He is the wrong coach, and I like Kevin. Personally, I do like him. And I do think as a coordinator, he will find more success in this league, just not here. There's too many landmines here that you can't miss. But the one thing that tells me he's not a head coach is his treatment. I don't even want to say he's a player's coach. He's just
Still, beneath all the sarcasm and exhaustion, there's a small spark that refuses to die. Because the fans, those endlessly loyal, heartbreak-hardened souls, never stop caring. They still show up, still cheer, still believe that maybe this week will finally be the one. That's the beauty and the tragedy of Cleveland football. It breaks you, then somehow convinces you to come back for more. Maybe one day it will finally click. Maybe Shedeur Sanders will get his chance, and the story will shift. Maybe Dillon Gabriel will find his rhythm and turn things around. Dillon Gabriel stranded mid-game, Stefanski stubborn as ever, and Shedeur Sanders waiting in the wings for the universe to make sense. The Browns remain the NFL's favorite tragic comedy, equal parts heartbreak and hilarity. And if you're still watching, still caring, still daring to believe, you've earned it. You're part of a fan base that finds loyalty in loss, humor in heartbreak, and a strange kind of pride in persistence. Because in Cleveland, hope doesn't die, it just takes a little longer to get back up after the sack.